What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast. It's Aggro and BaRRaCCuDDa as per usual. This week we had the SPL get started, Barry. The SPL is back in full swing. You know, it's regular season play. I'm stalling for time to switch your audio input, and now it's gonna definitely work and not be bad. Nope, it didn't work. No, it isn't. Actually, it is not working. Okay, maybe it's like this one? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
this.
I think it's like that one.
Yep, you were right there
that's
all along.
Yep.
That was the one to do.
That's the one.
Barry, I tried to get a couple of your esteemed teammates on the podcast, and by a couple, I mean I messaged two people and then forgot to message anyone else after they both said they couldn't.
That's a lot of esteemed teammates.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much steam to go around when you think about it.
Especially on this team.
Especially on this team, but this team is 2-0. You guys had a great kickoff weekend, and I would say not just because you're on this podcast every week, but
really,
I would say that you guys were the story of week one.
Why, thank you.
Coming out 2-0. Would you agree that you're the biggest story coming out of week one?
It's kind of to be expected, honestly. For us, anyways. I don't know why everyone continues to put us lower on everything. It's just kind of troll at this point. The majority of our team was on Bolts last year and went on a crazy 10 win streak, and then I think the only realistic split that we had was bad. Was fall split when we had Baskin, and then that's literally someone coming brand new back to Smite.
Right.
I mean, it would be nice if we could win those games, but it's not a big deal if we don't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there are certainly the BaRRaCCuDDa haters out there. The subreddit has chosen sides occasionally on which side of the fence they're on whether or not that combination of you two is going to be successful. But I do think that the narrative around your teams does discount the regular season success that you guys have found over the last few years, because it wasn't even last year was certainly your best regular season stretch for a while, but you also had good stretches the year before that. It wasn't completely out of the blue. So, I think that just between those types of narratives and not having a great kickoff event, only playing that one set,
which is kind of funny because we literally played the team that won it.
Right, who also went 2-0 this weekend, by the way.
Yeah, and then they're well, they went out in quarters. Well, Dragons made it to finals and didn't win a set against them when they had 5 games of knowledge to watch. So, it's just kind of funny, listening to the different directions that people go. Sure. With the arguments that they provide.
Right.
And also, I think me and Vin had a really good Worlds performance as well. So, in my opinion, it's to be expected for, how we're doing right now, in my opinion.
I mean, you guys are looking really good. Both you and the Kings in your division are 2-0. The Warriors, the only unbeaten team in the other division after the first weekend of play. I want to talk a little bit about this first set that you guys had up against the Leviathans, because I caught a good amount of this set. Hurry was kind of going crazy on the Emoja.
That guy's built different on that gun.
He looked awesome on it, man. I mean, sad for me when Emoja continues to look so good. But
yeah, eventually that gun will be bad.
I suppose so.
Right? Right?
I suppose so. Who knows what we're gonna have to do in order to make that happen? I mean, eventually. Obviously there are options to go to that are a little bit more extreme than I would
feel
like.
like
But yeah,
at this point, you're either like completely handicapping the god, or she'll always be at least like okay. But to be fair, I don't think she was that good, but I think Horn Shard is like really strong on her because you
yes,
just reset cooldowns so easily, and
yes.
that kind of like reset, in my opinion, the reason she was bad for a little while, anyways.
Yeah, her Omi availability in the early game was really handicapped, and then Hornshard kind of gave a lot of that back to her
Yep.
in early bursts. But we'll see if she's going to continue to look very good. I don't think that you guys will get a chance to prove how good she is for a while, because I imagine that is not a pick that Hurry is going to see for a good amount of
Yeah, I
time.
would assume so.
Yeah, he looks pretty dominant, but this game 1 win up against Leviathans was a little bit of a barn burner. The 53-minute game did not look good for you guys, to say the least, for a little bit. But kind of talk to me about this Leviathan set in general, but I suppose particularly this game 1.
Yeah, I think I kind of trolled our laning phase a little bit in the early game, and I kind of figured since they had Charybdis, if we could just take it to late game, we'd be fine. And then we kept like barely defending and barely defending and barely defending. So eventually I had faith that things would work out for us, and thankfully they did. I was kind of laughing that the first set of the year has like a Zeus and an Anubis jungle in it.
I know. That was these picks and bans, dude. I remember I was watching and I was like, this is ridiculous, bro. Like, what even is going on with these picks and bans? I mean, it's cool. I'm happy to see particularly Anubis see some play. I know most people would expect for me to say I'm particularly happy to see Zeus see play. But I think as much as I do like to see Zeus, and Ven did absolutely pop on it, nearly 50k damage, only 1 death in 53 minutes. That is absurd.
Yeah, I'll die for him.
Yeah, you only died twice, Barry. It's not like you were inting every team fight, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You guys only 3 deaths combined in 53 minutes. They only had 10 kills, but still, that's not a lot of deaths.
Yeah, I think that they could have sped up the pace of their game if they wanted to, but they were really like playing to farm it out and hit spikes. And I think there was one. If that's the game I remember correctly, they waited for like 2 minutes for EFG as well, which, in my opinion, is a little troll, because I feel like you're just. I don't know. It's just you give the enemy team so much time to farm when you do stuff like that. And I think that's, I don't want to say like griefing, obviously, but I feel like it's just risky to do calls like that and plays like that.
Yeah, the question is, would you rather fight against them now with the items they have now and a regular Fire Giant buff, or whatever items they'll complete in 2 minutes, but an enhanced Fire Giant buff?
Yep.
I guess if you guys were sitting on a bunch of tier 2s and that kind of stuff, like multiple tier 3 item spikes are probably better than the difference between EFG and FG. If you guys had just completed some tier 3s, like tier 1 and tier 2 items for that time. But I guess it also matters like your experience and all that kind of stuff, though I'm assuming everyone was 20 at that point anyways.
But, yeah, they also whipped out the Vamana jungle, which I was a little surprised about. I didn't think that was going to see play.
Yeah, back-to-back games. I don't remember how much more play Vamana jungle got the rest of the weekend, if at all.
Yeah, I assume it was just a pick that worked really well for them in scrims, but didn't work on game day.
Yeah, Twig played Vamana jungle in like the next set, I believe. Yeah, that is the next set. Yeah, I feel like Vamana jungle. Oh yeah, that backdoor. Right. I feel like Vamana jungle is not. I'm not. I've always been a little bit of a Vamana hater. I will be honest. I've always felt like that god doesn't do enough to make me really scared of him the vast majority of the time. I do think he's very good right now. But I think he's a better solo laner than jungler.
Yeah, and
like if if it's a 53-minute game and adapting is playing, any normal burst assassin, like Susano or Mercury, even like Hunbats, like those are like Ven is not dying only one time against late game Camazotz, Susano, like whatever, a Willix.
It doesn't matter how good your positioning is, like you're going to get cooked eventually.
Yep, exactly, against those types of picks. But against Vamana, it's like we're DP, especially. I mean, he first picked the Vamana game 1, and game 2.
Yes, I assume it was a flex for them.
Right, kind of has to be, right, if you're gonna be willing to first pick it. And they did.
I think
Alec did play it in their set against the Warriors later.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That weekend.
So I assume it was just a flex for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just happened to be like based off our comp that, they wanted to put it at jungle, which I mean I don't agree with. I mean I'm on your page. I think it's like an okay pick right now, but I don't think it's like the really like game breaking pick.
No, it's they didn't. Oh, I skipped to the wrong game. I was like, why are these picks and bans different than what I remember? Yeah, they picked Odin before they saw Zeus, so they had to commit before they saw the mid lane character. I think the Zeus is just a really smart pick by you guys in that spot, because it is a god. Like Vamana jungle is a DPS race character. It's like he's not doing a whole lot other than stomping on you, and you have to figure out if you can kill him before he can kill you. And Zeus kills them before he dies better than almost any god in the game.
We had a Zeus Anubis too, so it's like you really have to pick your fights well as the Vamana and make sure that like a lot of cooldowns are down.
Yes, yeah, it's a thin rope to walk, and unfortunately for the Leviathans, but fortunately for you and the Ravens, adapting did not quite find a way to walk it. The Leviathans going 0-2 on the weekend, their second loss being to the Oni Warriors. I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Not a big deal for them, in my opinion, because Shinto is still on ping for a while.
Yep.
And I do think that this team will need more time to mesh together before they're really good, in my opinion.
Yep.
I don't think this is like a spring split team. I think we should be expecting them to pop off in like summer or fall.
Yeah, I agree. I am not expecting great things from the Leviathans in this split. I am expecting them to be competitive come World's time. And by competitive, I mean in the running for being a potential champion. They obviously have the talent. It's just a matter of... I think people don't really give enough weight to how big it is to change your jungle and solo at the same time.
Yep.
That is a huge part of your late game shot calling. And Panatom played with Shinto Rangyu for so long that any jungler, even one as experienced as adapting, like that's going to be different. That's going to be very different for them. So I agree. I could see the Leviathans sticking in this 6th spot that they're currently holding, tied, 6 through 8. I think that I could easily see them being the 6th overall in the standings until summer or even fall.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hounds might be able to take 6 from them, honestly.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Hounds a little bit? I mean, they took you guys to 3 games. Won that opening game. I did not catch this set. What happened in this game 1? Because you had more kills than they did.
We were stomping. We just took one bad team fight, if I remember correctly, and we like overdove, and then after that it got bad.
The old classic.
And then game 2 and game 3, we kind of just blew them out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we blew them out in kills. Their map play was actually pretty clean. They were trading things really well on the map, which we didn't really expect for a newcomer team to be that adept at macro. They played really well. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I mean, this Hounds team has a good amount of competitive experience. Just, Coast has played for so long in the competitive scene, mostly on console, and then switching over to SEC. Benny was in SEC for a long time. Ducky been around the league forever. Quig's been around forever. So it doesn't, it is always a good test where you've been around forever, but not at this level. Like, can it really translate? And it is a good sign if their macro is fitting in pretty well. I do think that this team, at least for me, is going to have some question marks still mechanically. Like, usually it's the mechanics are there and the decisions are not. They've got to kind of prove both ends to me still, but I think it's certainly possible that they can do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're also kind of meta dependent right now. I don't think Oath so much, but other people on the team are kind of meta dependent and I do think this is a meta that favors them. Kind of same for Warriors as well. I do think this is a meta that favors Warriors. And I do think they'll be able to adapt later, but I think this is like best possible meta for them to come into.
Well, we'll see if they can actually convert that. We'll talk about the upcoming games here in a little bit. I want to talk about the Oni Warriors. I mean, this is the other team that is another one of the three teams that is undefeated right now. A team coming off of the kickoff land victory did at least drop a game to the Leviathans at the end of Saturday, but overall come out still looking undefeated. This team, I did catch a little bit of some of their games. They don't look like they are just running around out mechanicking people like we thought they might. They seem to be pretty on the same page. They look pretty united in what they're doing, and that was certainly a concern coming in. But I'm not super concerned about that now. Their picks, like you said, it's kind of meta dependent. Their picks, Sot plays the Morrigan into Merlin. Then he goes Hercules in the third game. All of a sudden changing it up, and that's kind of been typical Sot throughout his career, is that he's like playing these other gods, and then they get to the big moments, and he goes back to a warrior, which I find a little interesting. Doesn't that just kind of tell you that like that either his team or he knows that those first few picks like probably aren't the actual best thing to be doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's just always limit testing and seeing if... I mean, he's talked about role swapping for a lot of time, so it kind of makes sense that he wants to play the mages and play the carries and kind of go more towards that style. And then after game 2, I think that was the Merlin game where they lost, and then it's like, okay, so you got to be on a front line. You need to be like making some space with Jake. And then they did get like hard. I think he got hard camped game 3. Like he was feeding, not like really hard, but he was definitely getting camped. And I think that they just made a really bad play in game 3 to get Sot back into the game. If I remember correctly, I think so.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't get to catch this game a whole lot, but he finished 2-3, had pretty low player damage in comparison to Fine. So those are usually pretty good indicators that, that's what's kind of going on.
Yeah, I think for Leviathans, they just need to... I think it's back to what you said. I think they just need to get more cohesion with their front line. Because obviously Fine and Adapting are insanely good players, but I think they just need to have a bit more time to cook together. And then for Warriors, I do think people are understanding their style of play a bit more. I don't think they were as stompy as they were at the tournament. Just kind of running over people like they were before. Because obviously people have had like 3 weeks of scrims. But I do think Warriors will just be better than other teams for a while, in my opinion.
Yeah, how much Warriors stock are you buying here? Like, do you think that it's still just early in the season they're going to be near the top, and that you expect them to fall off a little bit later on in the year? Like, I was pretty. I think that everyone could probably tell based on the way that I discussed them in the early podcast episodes that I did not have very high hopes for the Warriors, and I've been at least a little bit convinced that they are going to be more of a threat later into the season than I would have initially guessed. Now, I know that doesn't really put me on super solid ground, but I think that's kind of fair after 1 week and one tournament. But I do think that I'm buying at least a little bit of Warrior stock in comparison to where I was before. How about for you?
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I think that they've shown macro-wise they're still really good. And also, I kind of feel like people have just been sleeping on Pantom for a while for some reason.
Couldn't be me.
Me as well, I think. I kind of slept on Pantom. That guy is just finding gank after gank after gank after gank on literally everyone. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. And then with Pagon as well, Pagon likes to rotate around in forced play. So you kind of have two junglers there, and then Jake also wants to fight wherever he is on the map and just kind of force plays there. So you have a lot of people that just want to get in your face and force plays. And I think when you have that many people doing the same thing, I think it generally turns out pretty good. I don't know if they will be as good at the end of the split when people get more games and more reps against them. But for right now, I think they're really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how... I agree that people were sleeping on Panatom, but I certainly was not, because I've thought that this guy has been probably the best player in the world for the last 2 years as far as just individual play. It's kind of been him and Paul. I'd probably still actually give the slight edge to Paul, but Panny, I think, has been the kind of undisputed best jungler for the last 3 years. In my opinion. So that guy is unreal, and the general story out there is that this split is what the Leviathans wanted, and that's kind of crazy to me still, because maybe it's always team dynamics and personalities and all that kind of stuff, and just because someone's really good doesn't mean you should play with them forever, but boy, is it hard to let go of someone who is that good. I think that agree. If Panny has a real chance to be put into the jungler Mount Rushmore, the 4 best junglers to ever play the game. He might already be there. But with a solid year this year, I think he kind of almost has to be.
I mean, his Worlds performance in Season 8 was uncontested.
Insane.
And he just put everyone in the dirt. And I think... I don't remember really what happened with their set this past Worlds. I think it was against Titans at the time. I'm not sure what really went wrong in that set.
Yeah, I don't... they got picks and bans. They got picks and bans gapped super hard.
Oh, okay.
I thought their picks and bans weren't great, and the Titans just came out, and I don't want to say it was crowd pressure, but I do think that the Titans, it's the old everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth sort of situation.
Yeah.
They just got kind of stunned by the Titans in game 1 and then didn't recover in time for game 2. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that I saw it, at least, in that set, from what I can remember. It's been a while since we've done... I know at one point we did a Mount Rushmore for each role. That'd be a fun episode. We should do that sometime. Because now I'm thinking about it. Would Panny be on my Mount Rushmore for junglers? I think
he would.
I think he might be. I don't know. We'd have to define what the criteria is for getting on Mount Rushmore, Is it the 4 best careers? Is it the 4 best players in those roles, in our opinions? Is it the players who hit the 4 highest peaks at any time during their career, either an individual skill or relative to the rest of the league, there are lots of ways to do it, Barry.
Yeah, I feel like you're at least putting Twig on there as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about him, and I'm not sure that I would.
Really?
I don't think I would, but if I were to pick a Mount Rushmore of overall SPL players, he would indisputably be on there for me. Which is weird, right? Like, I just think that so much of Twig's value is what he brings to a team and what type of teammate and person that he is in a team environment. And I don't think that... I just kind of view I think that my initial thought, and this, could all just be because it's just like popping into my head, and if I think about it even for a couple minutes, like I would choose a different way to put it, but the role Mount Rushmore feels more about player skill in comparison to their peers in their roles. And an overall SPL Mount Rushmore would be like the best players that you would want to have, regardless of role. And I would want to have Twig, regardless of what role he's playing, over the vast majority of players that have ever touched the game. But in terms of raw Smite skill, I don't know that he would make my top 4 for junglers.
That's fair. I don't look at it like raw Smite skill. I look at it for value of what they're bringing.
Yeah, and that's super fair. Like, if that would probably make more sense to do it that way, and in that case, yes, Twig would absolutely make my top 4. But like, look at when he role swapped to mid. He was still very valuable to that team in all the same ways. He did the same things in mid that he did in the jungle, basically. So, I don't know.
Oh yeah, sorry, I got way off the topic. Well, teams haven't we talked about Glads? I think.
Yeah, we haven't discussed Glads or Dragons or Kings.
I think Glads looked weaker than I thought they would, in my opinion. I think they came out really hot at the qualifier tournament, and then they played one game really good against Kings, if I remember correctly, in the first tournament, the first SPL tournament, where they could have won. I think if Bobby dropped the bomb. And then I think this weekend, I think they just played kind of bad. I think Bobby was having a good game, or several good games, so I remember correctly. That's like the third time I said that. On the Ymir, I think he had a really good game. And I just think the rest of his team was kind of stinking it up, unfortunately. And then for Kings, you just need to start locking that back door. I mean, they've had the keys to everyone's back door in this first weekend. I don't know if they were backdooring before this tournament or before the first weekend, but it was crazy how many backdoors that they were getting away with this past weekend.
Yeah,
it's kind of criminal.
Yeah, I mean, when a backdoor happens, like, it is mostly on the team that got backdoored most of the time.
Yeah,
right. Like, it is obviously good, and it's good play and all that kind of stuff to identify an opportunity to go for a backdoor. But most of the time, it's because the door was left open, unlocked, whatever it is. Like, most of the time, it can be played around. I don't remember well enough to say if that was the case this weekend, but usually backdoors are results of more sloppy play than genius play, like, so to speak. Not to take any credit away from the Kings, of course.
Did they play Dragons?
Yeah, they played Dragons on Friday and the Styx Ferrymen on Sunday.
Dragon sets put me to sleep.
Really?
Good lord, dude. Like,
Mike's been EU'd?
I think it was the game on Sunday. Holy, I was like, this game will not end. Like, nothing is happening, dude. It was just...
Yeah, 41 and 51. Slow. And you know what? And that's the final game on Sunday. That is messed up.
It was terrible.
That is messed up to do to the production and casting crews.
Yeah.
To make them go 41 and 51 minutes in the final games of the weekend. The only saving grace here is that they did it in 2 games. You know, if they had won game 1,
dude, if it was 3
lost game 2, and then won game 3, it would have been an absolute. They would have lost all connections with all the casters.
I would have lost all respect for them.
Yes, that is obviously the worst thing that you can do to anybody is force them to go into that extraneous game and then not win it. That is criminal. Absolutely.
Yeah, I also think Ferrymen are gonna have to take some time to cook as well. I mean, I think we've covered them previously, but I think this is gonna be a team that needs to mesh for a little bit before they start seeing like really good results.
Yeah,
I think they're already pretty good, but I think that they'll be like a top team in a little bit.
Let's go over Sino's jungle picks this weekend, shall we? Okay. We got Nike. That's a Sino classic. Then we got Surtur jungle. Then we had Nike. And then we had Surtur. Those were his 2 junglers that he played this weekend. Were Nike and Surtur. The Sino God pool. Always a discussion point. Yeah, always interesting. I did not see the Surtur jungle coming. But
neither did his team.
In Sino's defense, the first time he played it, he was 5-2-6. And the second time they played it, and that was in a win, they lost the game against the Kings, but he was 4-0-6 in that game.
I mean, if it's Call of Duty, he's doing great.
He's doing great. No, it isn't. And he was the lowest player damage on his team besides Aurora in both of those games. So, you know.
I mean, he's getting in there.
He's getting in there.
Or ulting out from what I saw.
Was he banned out here? I mean, Hevo ban is for Paul.
Yep.
Hercules, it's a warrior, so maybe Sino would play it, but
nope.
Probably not. There's a Nike ban in that game. This game, there was a Vamana ban, which might be Hades ban. Also could be for Sino. He's done that before.
Has he?
He has. He played Hades jungle in SEC quite a bit, if I remember correctly. He saw a Chalk ban. That was for him. Yeah. So no. Those are really the only bans that he was taking.
I mean, it sounds like they really forced him on the Surtur, unfortunately.
Sounds like it. Yeah. The Chalk ban. Well, really.
Chalk and Nike are gone.
What happened to Sino Naja, man? Is Naja just unplayable right now? Is that the problem?
I guess so.
If Sino's not picking it,
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. If he's not picking it, then no one should play it.
Oh, I wanted to ask about Martikaras. This was his first week of eligibility in SPL. Saw a good amount of play. I can find the stats if I want to, but I don't. For his overall like pick ban rate and win rate and all that kind of stuff.
He had a high pick ban rate. He had a low win loss rate. I think he was.
That sounds right.
Pretty bad this weekend. Win-loss rate.
Does that surprise you at all?
A little bit, because I feel like he's kind of a very comp style of god. Especially with how many plays you can make with the grass. And we saw players like putting it more in the wall, so you can like...
That was really cool. I saw that one play where they put it kind of like in purple buff wall, and so it was just this little edge that was sticking through. You could barely see it, and then that way someone gets to stealth in lane without really being able to be seen.
Yep.
That is awesome. I had not seen that. I don't think any of us did that in playtests, anything like that. That is like a super unique application that is really, really cool.
I don't know if it's better than the standard grass of just having it there and having someone like in that area.
Right.
But it's cool to watch it like top-down perspective for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Chat saying that they don't feel like Marty isn't great. They feel like Marty isn't great because he doesn't abuse crit as well as some gods, aka CERN and Ishtar.
Yeah.
Do you agree that's what's holding him back?
I feel like it's no surprise to say that teams with Marty have not been able to kill objectives as well as other teams. And I feel like that's not giving anything away, that
Sure.
crit hunters have more DPS than Bluestone ability-based hunters.
Yes.
And Marty just does not kill objectives. That guy does not ever kill objectives. Like,
kind of ironic, no? Because he used to be an objective. You'd think he'd be better at doing that. Maybe it's a show of solidarity, though. You know, did you ever consider
Really?
that? Yeah,
I never considered that, actually.
he knows what it's like. So he doesn't want to perpetuate this cycle of violence. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a real good guy. That
he's just
that Marty.
His textures do not look great.
Well, come on.
When I play minimum graphics, Marty looks like an N64 character.
Okay, well, get off minimum graphics. You know, that's all you got to do.
I can't.
My friend Shane, who's an effects artist, he's the effects artist who worked on Maui and eShell, among a bunch of other things, obviously. And he always is saying, like, there's no one I hate more than the Smite pros who play on minimum graphics, because they just invalidate my job. Like, they make my effects look terrible, and all my work is gone when they put it to low. You know what I mean? I think it's like it's very funny.
Well, it's just there's too many effects nowadays. Like,
that's what the people want.
If I crank the graphics to maximum, I can't see a thing in team fights. It's just like color explosion after color explosion after color explosion. And also, you know, my frame rate doesn't love it either. And when I play Marty anyways, I already am dropping frames, you know, due to the grass or whatever. So that's not great. So yeah, I think we're staying on minimum graphics.
Yeah, no, I know you.
I assume that it was being fixed and being worked on, but that's my only gripe with playing him.
Yeah, that's it's also that we're old, you know, like all the colors and like the zoomers, they're on TikTok looking at 4 videos at the same time. You know what I mean? Like the spliced videos and the ones, dude, I'm seeing them on my Twitter feed now, where it's like a video of like someone playing Temple Run and then like a clip of that I'm like listening to, and I'm like, doesn't this make anyone else like legitimately sad that like this is what it makes me legitimately sad to see those types of like, we have just devolved to the point where we need like visually stimulating thing to enhance in auditory stimulating thing. Like, that is not, that's too much. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be better than that, right?
Sorry, I got distracted by a scream coming in here.
Yeah, Scream in the chat just said, "Hello, I'm drunk. Buff Jubgul." Which, as soon as I figure out what Jubkul is, I will get that's buff jungle. What do you think, Barry? Do you think we should buff jungle?
After playing 9 hours of rank today, jungle should not be buffed. Contrary to popular belief, jungle is a very strong role that can kind of just walk to any lane and kill them.
Yeah.
So I really, truly do not think jungle needs any buffs.
Sorry, Scream. So you convince your ADC, then I can't really do anything on my end. You know, it's out of my hands. Barry, as we all know, makes all balanced decisions for us
for a long time.
For a long time. Boy, you must have been real sad seeing all those angry Reddit threads. Then Barry, they were real mad for a little bit there. All right, let's move on to our random question of the week. Of course, brought to you by our Patreon Discord. If you want to join our community Discord, support us directly on the show, all that kind of good stuff. Patreon.com/backliner is the place to go. We're starting it off with Hiru. What is the best and worst food to put in a microwave? Shoutouts to Factor Meals. Obviously the best thing to put in a microwave, that is true. In terms of taste, flavor, and texture. And you can't give it to fish for the worst, because that's a given.
My worst would be French fries.
Oh yeah, they are inedible.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever enjoyed French fries out of the microwave.
That's a good one.
I trying to think of best foods to put in the microwave.
Pizza.
I mean, no.
What?
Pizza.
Microwave pizza is fine.
No. Toaster oven pizza is way better than microwave pizza.
Yeah, toaster oven is better, for sure. But, like, a lot of times you only have a microwave at an office or something like that.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't going off of availability of microwaves.
Well, that's the whole point of microwaves, right? Is that they're everywhere. They're cheap. They're like fast. That's why they're everywhere. They aren't everywhere because they're the best. They're everywhere because they're less expensive and faster.
Yeah, you're wrong here.
Okay.
Sorry. Pizza crust get too soggy.
Yes.
And the bottom of your pizza is literally just wet. And
It's true.
that is not a great texture.
It is not.
So you definitely lost me there on pizza. I would say maybe the best thing would be like chili or like soup.
Yeah.
But also I feel like that's kind of a cop-out because it doesn't have any texture to begin with besides the beans.
Right.
So I feel that's kind of a cheap answer, but I can't, like, you're not going to throw like a steak in the microwave and get like a good steak.
No.
Or for me, I'm not going to throw tofu in a microwave and cook tofu.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I think eggs are also pretty bad if you throw them in the microwave.
I don't really eat eggs with those. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, I think they just blow up if I remember correctly.
Really
if I could stop saying if I remember correctly, that'd be great.
Yeah, I believe in you. You can do it.
I really can't.
The obviously the easiest one here is popcorn, right? Like popcorn. Yeah. It isn't any better.
Stove, though.
Do you think it's actually better on the stovetop versus like the microwave?
It's not better, but it's more of an experience that I enjoy more than microwaving it.
Yes. I don't know. When you're just standing there listening to all the pops, like it's spinning in the microwave, like I'm having a good time. But the stovetop is better, I suppose.
It is very nostalgic if you're microwaving popcorn.
Yes.
And then you start to smell it too, and it just kind of fills up the whole house.
Damn, I'm about to go microwave some popcorn right after this show. That sounds really good.
No, I think you're right. I think it's popcorn.
Yeah. Popcorn is definitely the best, I think. Honorable mention goes to things like, Hot Pockets, pizza rolls, anything like that. Soup was a great one by you. Microwaving soup is like easy peasy.
Any bowl meal is good in the microwave. Like anything like pasta isn't bad in my opinion out of the microwave.
I do not like rice. That's what microwave.
Yeah, you have to sprinkle a little. You have to sprinkle a little water on there.
Yeah.
To get it all moist again.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's great is because it's so easy it's kind of a cheat code that like the soft taco shells, like the little tortillas, you just put you just put them on a paper towel, a wet paper towel.
Yeah.
They're perfect in like 10 to 15 seconds. Yep. You know what I mean? So that's definitely up there as well. Worst food, microwave broccoli makes me want to Kermit. Like I just can't. I just can't, dude. It smells so bad. Like,
yeah.
I hate this. I like broccoli. The smell of microwaved broccoli, like, I can't handle it.
I'm kind of that way with asparagus too.
Yeah.
Obviously, like pre-cooked asparagus that you're heating up the next day.
Yeah.
It's all like soft and just a weird texture, and the flavor I think is also a little weird.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like dirty another pan by cooking just my asparagus on the stove, so I'm gonna put it on the dinner plate with everything else, and it's just not great. Sometimes like black-eyed peas are pretty good, or just like beans and peas in general as like a side. They're okay in the microwave.
Yeah, I don't like really beans, but that did remind me, Barry, for some reason. But I drove past a butcher that's like not too far from my house, and they said they had a sign out front that said boiled peanuts. That's got to be a good place, right? I didn't go in because I had to be somewhere, but I literally thought of it and was like, if Barry says that a butcher would be a legit place to get some boiled peanuts, I will go in there.
It has to be.
Okay, I will go in there.
It has to be.
All right, I'm gonna go in there. Maybe not in time for next week, but it is on my mind, and I'm gonna go try some boiled peanuts.
Yeah, if it's close by, you gotta slam it.
Yeah. Neon Kerm asked, "What is a food that most people enjoy but you can't stand?" I could have done the whole episode talking about this because my mouth is broken. It doesn't like things that other people like.
I don't know if this will count, but mustard?
Yep, terrible.
It ruins the entire thing I'm eating.
Yep.
Because it takes over everything in my palate.
Yep.
And I do not like it. Also, before going vegan, sushi. I have never liked sushi. I've never had one good roll of sushi.
Interesting.
I think it's very overrated.
That is a good hot take from you, BaRRa, because that is unpopular and will make me seem less. Mine are worse than that, but at least you also have one that no one is going to agree with you on, and that's good for me. So I respect that.
Thank you.
Sushi's great though; it's really good. You are trolling, but I like that you said that.
Thank you.
And respect it. All right, I'll try and pick the top 3 that are going to shock the most people that I don't like.
Okay.
Number 1, ketchup. It's bad. I like tomatoes a lot. Yep, I don't have ketchup on anything I eat. It's just so overpowering and so sugary, and I don't know. I love tomatoes. I love vinegar. It's just tomatoes, vinegar, and sugar. Is basically what ketchup is, and I just don't like it. It's bad. So here's something that I wish I liked, and I've tried many times to force myself to like, but every time I put it in my mouth, my tongue goes, "No more, please." And that's every form of eggs I've ever eaten. My breakfast options are so limited. Like when we go to a breakfast place or a brunch place or something like that.
Oh,
I wish I liked eggs.
Vegan.
Yeah, I bet it's like impossible. Mine, I'm just, it's not even a choice. Like it's just like I put an egg in my mouth and my tongue like doesn't like it, and I'm like, no, I want to like this. Like this is good for me. Like I can do this in the morning for an easy breakfast. There's lots of great things. Like omelets sound delicious, and then I order it and I eat it, and I'm like, this sucks. Like,
interesting.
I don't like it. There are plenty more. I think that most people would also be angry about the fact that I don't like ranch. Ranch dressing is not good. It's just gross. Ranch seasoning, great. Ranch dressing, bad. If something like eggs are in fried rice, that's fine. I won't eat around them. They aren't a super overpowering flavor for like scrambled eggs. Like it's fine. I've had like some frittatas that are like edible, but I don't love. I'm not like I can't have any eggs, but if it's like a burger with an egg on it or something like that, like I'm not doing that, obviously. Yeah, seasoning is great from ranch. The sauce stinks. Wow, the chat's being very supportive.
This is weird.
Yeah, how am I getting backed up here? I got backed up on ketchup and ranch. No, I don't like blue cheese. Okay, how about this? This one is just to piss BaRRa off, because we've had this numerous times. Barbecue sauce isn't good. I've never had a barbecue sauce in my entire life that I liked. Because so many are ketchup based, and the ones that aren't ketchup based also aren't good. So like I don't know what to tell you.
Does barbecue sauce taste like ketchup to you?
Some of them, yeah. I forget which region is like known for like ketchup-y barbecue sauce, but that is the worst. There have been some barbecue sauces that I don't like, but I don't hate. That's bad stuff.
Barbecue sauce, in my opinion, needs to have a lot of like flavor dynamics to it. It needs to be smoky. It needs to be spicy. It needs to carry the flavor of whatever you're putting it on, in my opinion. And it can be sweet, but it doesn't have to be sweet. A lot of them, in my opinion, are over-sweetened, so it kind of like takes over in a bad way. But the majority of barbecue sauces, like we got a really good one from Trader Joe's that was like a roasted garlic spicy barbecue sauce, and that was one of the best barbecue sauces I've ever had. And that thing blew my mind.
Like I would try it, but I'm not like, I'd much rather have hot sauce. Like I love a good hot sauce.
I mean, it's like hot sauce is 0 calories, and you can just toss it on anything.
Dude,
like,
it's
if you have, like,
so good.
Frank's sauce, Frank's Red Hot, or Texas Pete, like, it's so easy to just add to things and just get a lot of flavor out of it.
Yep. That's the good stuff. We're not sponsored by them. I used to have like a soft sponsorship with them. Hopefully the prediction guys don't mind here. But they're my favorite hot sauce ever. You can get online. It's from a small. It's literally a family. It's like one family who makes it themselves. In the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, that we met at a trade show when I was helping my uncle.
This is the most backwoods story.
Yeah, listen to what the website is. I'm typing in the chat right now. It's George and Floyd's CountryKitchen.com. It's the longest. Hold on, I'm gonna double check this link to make sure it's like still working and that it's right. Yep, that's it. George and Floyd's CountryKitchen.com. Their hot sauce is my favorite hot sauce I've ever had in my entire life, and it is not close. That stuff owns. Again, not sponsored, but good people and great hot sauce. So you can snag that up if you want. Okay, Spitaz asks, "What's a lunch you remember from high school that was absolutely fire every time they served it?" I actually have one. Go ahead.
I didn't eat the school lunches, but my mom would make me. It was a lunch meat, cheese, and pepperoni sandwich, and I loved it.
Ooh, that sounds good. What kind of lunch meat?
It was ham or turkey, whatever was on sale that week.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
It was banging.
That sounds really good. Did you know what I just remembered that I hadn't thought of in so long? Like, I definitely ate a ton of bologna as a kid.
Oh, I hated bologna.
I haven't had bologna in well over 10 years. And the thought of it...
Good.
The thought of it makes me feel a little ill. But I feel like I should try it.
I never liked it. No.
Really? I liked it when I was a kid. I liked it when I was a kid.
Okay, also, speaking of things we liked as a kid, I was sitting on the couch the other day, like 2 days ago, and I don't know if I'm like pregnant right now, but I got the biggest craving for SpaghettiOs I think I have ever had in my entire life.
Are they vegan?
I don't know. I mean, I assume so. I don't think there's anything real in SpaghettiOs. But I got the biggest craving for SpaghettiOs. And I just wanted that, like, it's like that fake taste.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of taste the can a little bit as well.
I never liked SpaghettiOs as a kid because I didn't like tomato sauce when I was younger. I now do like tomato sauce, but have still never really had SpaghettiOs, to be honest. Should I get some?
Yeah. Probably not. They're probably not very good for you. They probably have a lot of sodium in them.
They also not vegan, unfortunately, BaRRa.
Really?
None of the flavors of SpaghettiOs are vegan.
What about the basic flavor?
No. It says, unfortunately, none of the SpaghettiOs flavors are vegan.
What?
Here you go. Let's see. It has...
I got some milk powder in it.
Cheddar cheese. Yeah, enzyme modified cheddar cheese and enzyme modified butter and skim milk.
That sounds real.
Yeah. It's like fine, you know, not a big deal. Wait, they sell SpaghettiOs with hot dog pieces in it?
Yeah, it's very American, I think.
Wait, SpaghettiOs give you 20% of your daily vegetables? How can it be bad for me? We're also not sponsored by SpaghettiOs for the record.
You were trying to sell them right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. Mine was my school lunch cafeteria. They would have nachos with like some ground beef, and those were banging. I think I might legitimately pass away if I ate that as a 31-year-old adult. Mm-hmm. But I had that basic because our cafeteria senior year was set up. They like redid it, and it was like I went to a very wealthy public school, and there were different sections of the cafeteria where you could get like one. They always had pizza, and they always had tacos and nachos senior year, and they there was like a Mexican stand and a pizza stand, and I think there was like two more, and one of them rotated every day, and I forget what the other static one was, if there was. Maybe it was only three. But I got nachos a lot.
That's OP, dude.
Yes.
We had one line and we had two options.
Yeah, that is, I think, much more normal.
I think we had two options, and then we always had pizza. And then we had Chick-fil-A for a while, I think, I think in freshman and sophomore year, we had Chick-fil-A, and then after that, I don't think Chick-fil-A came back for some reason. I think the school like banned Chick-fil-A or something. I think kids were like being rowdy or something in Chick-fil-A. I don't know. Something happened with the kids.
Sure.
But yeah,
they were getting rowdy over the chicken sandwiches. I could see it legitimately.
Yeah. Something bad happened. They were like, "You guys don't deserve Chick-fil-A anymore." But
pain.
I never bought it anyways.
Pain, dude. There were I just had to remember, what was that soda called? There were like these really thin cans of soda that we could get. Were they? Dude, I'm gonna like text someone. I want to say it was called Switch. Is this it? I'm just like Googling different food items all the time. Yes. Oh my God. How did I get that right off the top of my head? How do I not remember so many things in my life, but I remember this? Anyways, they were charging like an insane amount of money for these Switch cans. And my friends and I, being high schoolers, thought it was a good idea to, in protest, grab some Switches every day at lunch and just put them in our pockets and walk out and not pay for them because they were so expensive. And again, very wealthy public school. And then we filled the cabinet where we would eat lunch, which was good Lord, this is such a, everyone who's listening to this, you'd be like, what the hell type of high school did Aggro go to? There was a TV studio in our high school, and we would go and eat in there, and we filled cabinets with empty Switch bottles that we had taken over the year, and by the end of it, we had filled 2 entire cabinets between all of us, and I remember having to really step it up in the last few weeks of school because we determined we were going to be short. So I had a hoodie that I would put on that was huge, and I would just stuff like 5 cans in my pocket. And I'm sure they saw me and just didn't care at all. Don't steal. That's not what the point of the story is, but
What?
I don't know what, my brain has not been working today, and I don't know why I told this story, but they were good times. Listen, I was sticking it to the man, okay? Anyways, oh no, that was the final question, but here said, shout out to Breakfast Pizzas. I'll agree with that. Breakfast Pizzas did kind of bang. And Spataz said that they were always late to school, and so never got breakfast there, and I am also part of that gang. I was late basically every single day my senior year.
Nice.
It was awesome. It was a great setup.
Yeah, it took me a while to straighten my hair in the morning, so I was late sometimes.
Wait, you straightened your hair every morning?
Yeah, most of the time. I was an emo kid, so.
Yeah, you had to. My hair, if I'm not kidding, if I straightened my hair, I legitimately, when my hair was long enough, I don't think anything would have happened. It would have been ever so slightly longer. My hair is so straight and does not do anything unless like I have to put an insane amount of product in to make it do anything at all. Like my hair is like I didn't put anything in my hair after I showered earlier today, and it's just like, it is just straight as could be, straight as an arrow.
Unlucky.
It is a little bit unlucky, but it did make the longer hair look naturally work. I'm going to put a picture of my hair from high school in our community Discord. And if you want to see it, patreon.com/backliner is the place to go.
Oh, I did finally get that Pokemon game working.
Oh, you did? I didn't download it. I meant to, but then my friends were here last week. Is it any good? We were talking about Pokemon Infinite Fusion, which is like a fan-made Pokemon game that I was watching a streamer I like play.
Yeah, if you're downloading it on Android, you need to use WinRAR on the App Store, and it takes a long time. I think it took about 12 hours for it to fully extract, because there are about 266,000 files that it has to extract.
Huh?
So I did it. It took me a long time, and then I just found that fix online. But now it works, and you just have to download the older version to play it on your phone. It's like 5.064, I think. But it works on your phone. It just takes a long time to extract.
Dude, I can't play it on my iPhone. Unlucky. That would have been so fun to play on. It would be a good one to play on my phone. Okay, I'm closing this podcast before Scream says something else in chat. That was some out of pocket. That was some out of pocket stuff. Oh no, I put something else up. That is some out of pocket.
Scream on the podcast.
Yeah, I almost asked him today too, and then I thought I should ask him, and then I forgot, and then it was too late to ask him for podcasts. But
same.
Unlucky. All right, thanks everyone for watching. We'll catch you next week. Barry's coach Neil Moss said he'd be on with us next week because he couldn't be on this week.
Oh.
So if he isn't here, it's his fault, and he lied. That's the whole point. All right, Barry, you know what to do.
Bye.
I was worried I tossed it to you too quickly, but you were ready for that.
Yeah, it kind of started a little low, and then I couldn't go higher with it because I think allergies are farming me too hard.
Dude, I am getting bodied by allergies, bro. It is insane.
I've had a headache that feels like my head's just being massaged in opposite directions.
But it isn't nice? That sounds nice.
No, because it's like a swirling headache. Like I'm getting a swirly.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I'm kind of hungry. I could go for a swirly.
Okay.